it's almost sometimes like a kid, like you don't want to go to sleep, like you feel like you're going to miss something, but I promise you it will all be there tomorrow, including your to-do list. Okay. Welcome to the podcast, The Whole and Complete Woman, where we provide practical tips and strategies for achieving your health, wealth, and relationship goals and desires. Yes, I said desires because God does not put desires in our heart just to tease us. So it's important to me that you are empowered with the tools and resources to not only fulfill your goals, but to create a life you love and a legacy, because the people who come after us, they're depending on us to pave the way. So I congratulate you for being here. Not only will today's content help your future self, but also those that come behind us. And that looks different for everyone, which I love. So let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. So we are going to talk about low energy today. And there was a time in my life where you could easily see me at a friend's house after church on Sunday. Everybody's going over there, having a potluck, hanging out, and just to fellowship and have a good time. But you would see me over on the couch asleep. And this would happen as soon as I would sit down. They already knew, let's give her her blanket, give her a pillow, make sure that she's, comfortable. I had my two little ones at this point in my life. So they were little, they were running around, but they were in good hands. And I was exhausted all the time. And this didn't just happen on Sundays. It happened most days of the week because I was absolutely exhausted all the time. During the week, I would go to work and then, I drop my kids off at daycare, go to work, see patients, and then I would pick my kids up, hurry up and feed them. And then I would literally be like yearning for like, when's their bedtime? I want them to go to bed, bathe them, get them in bed so that I could go to sleep because I was so tired all the time. And on top of that, I struggled with painful, irregular periods. I was bloated all the time. I was moody. And I just really did not feel like myself anymore. At that point in my life, I was going through a very painful divorce, leaving a volatile marriage. So there was just a lot happening. And there was a lot going on in my health that was really just holding me back from being a good mother, advancing in my career, or just like feeling good in my clothes, being able to go into my closet and put on things that felt really good to me. But eventually, I realized that all the supplements I was taking, the meds that I had been prescribed, those things were not really addressing the root cause of my issues. I had gone to different doctors, asked them about what was going on and all the weird symptoms that I had felt in my body. You could easily see me Googling, trying to figure out like, am I supposed to be moody before my period comes, or why am I so tired, or what can I take for to increase my energy, or why are my periods so heavy? Like going to Google, trying to figure out what was going on in my body. And that's all I would receive is, take birth control. One doctor sent me around in circles, like labs came back normal. We tested everything. Everything's normal. Take some iron or take a multivitamin or do this, go on a medication. My favorite one that is often prescribed is just go on an antidepressant or anti-anxiety drug. Not really my favorite. But oftentimes women, we are told that we're crazy, like either we're told that we're crazy, or we're told that what we're experiencing is normal, or we feel crazy because we're told that things are normal, but we know something's off in my body. It doesn't quite feel right. So I'm here today to talk about energy. Okay. I've wasted so much time, money, all types of things on supplements, cleanses, taking courses. and all of those types of things on top of just my education in general. Okay. So all of this happened after I was already a doctor and I went back to school. Okay. So you heard that correctly. Yes. I was already a doctor, went back to school. I've spent over $500,000 on my education, but I will tell you that it is worth it 100% because knowledge is power. And I have become a lifelong learner of really how to reset my hormones and become a woman that, one, gets to the root cause of her symptoms and the symptoms of my patients and clients. I choose to test, not guess. So when those doctors were running those tests, they were just doing some like basic lab work. There's actually a lot of advancements and things that where we can find out for women exactly what's going on inside of your body and then resolve those issues without drugs or surgery. Okay. So I'm always like, test, don't guess. Okay. You don't have to say, well, my friend told me that I should take some B12, or I should take this, and that's guessing. And, I have become a woman who I choose to test and not guess. I do things to boost my metabolism. I make sure that I'm detoxing properly. That's a whole nother podcast there. But a lot of times people may go on a juice cleanse or they'll do some kind of parasite cleanse or some type of detox, but actually they won't feel good when they're doing it. It will make them super sick and have low energy. And it's like, you're always told to like push through it. But what's happening during that time is that you're auto intoxicating yourself. So basically you're pulling out toxins from different areas in the body, but then the body can't get rid of it. So it's really important to detox properly. So I'll do an episode on that to break all of that down. And the other thing that I make sure that I do is I prioritize my well-being while protecting my future. So for me, somewhere between all of life's demands and choosing to prioritize my well-being, I started to get my energy back, lose weight, feel good in my skin, and become a better wife, mother, entrepreneur, all the things that I intended to be. Okay. So just living out my life's purpose and doing that with knowledge and truth and power. And all of that, just even having the confidence, to know what's going on, that significantly reduces stress and really, helps a lot. Like a lot of the women that come to me, they're just like, I've been on Google, I've been searching. This is something that kind of just always playing in the background of my mind about like what's going on with me and trying to figure these types of things out. So when you have those answers, it's so validating. One, because you've been told things are normal, or you may feel crazy, or you just know inherently like something's off inside of my body, So getting those answers just brings so much confidence. And the thing is about having low energy is that it truly impacts our lives. So for me, when I had low energy, it was affecting, the way that I mothered my children. I did not have the energy to like play with them, and this was years ago. I was much younger then. And I didn't. I was like waiting for them to go to sleep so I could go to sleep. And oftentimes, even as mothers, we're overstimulated. So that can happen as well, too. Like sometimes it's not even, there's a level of irritability there, but it's almost like, okay, I just need a break. And it's because the nervous system and our hormones, they're going through too much. And we have to look at those things and find out what's going on there. It impacted work, so I had dreams of building my business bigger and doing different things. But if I didn't have the energy to do that, then I can't, and oftentimes the women that come to me, very, very high achieving women, very ambitious. And whether they're working in corporate, they're in some type of leadership role, or they're wanting or desiring to have their own business. Some of them already have their own business and they're wanting to expand it, but not having the energy at the end of the day, like literally just pushing through each and every day, getting the things done that need to get done, maybe. But then definitely not able to do more, So energy, not having that really impacts our work, it impacts our relationships, and it even impacts some spiritually. A lot of the things that we do as human beings to connect with God, sometimes it's like, too tired to do that. Like I want to sleep in, or I'm not going to do my devotions or meditation or whatever your form of connecting to God is, because the energy is not there. So then you feel, not spiritually aligned. You don't feel connected. That creates more stress and disruption within the body and hormones and all of those types of things. So here's the thing about stress is that stress, it weakens our immune system and it disrupts our hormones. It sends our adrenal glands into overdrive, okay? So our adrenal glands are these little glands about the size of a walnut, and they sit on top of our kidneys. And basically, they pump out cortisol. So cortisol is there if our body senses that it is in a situation where we need to fight or run away. Okay. So it was really created for short term. Okay. So if a bear was coming after us, we're in danger. We have all of this cortisol that will come out and we can either fight or run away. But when we're stuck in this state of fight or flight, that becomes very difficult because then our body's constantly using cortisol and doesn't go into the opposite, which is our parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest. So we'll get into that a little bit as well. But the stress, all of these things, not being able to do the things that we want to do in life creates more tension and stress. And it literally just allows our to-do list to build up over and over or more and more over time. So energy is so important. So I want to talk about a few of the reasons why you may be experiencing low energy. And these were the reasons why I was experiencing low energy as well. A lot of these different things going on here. So just in the comments, go ahead and comment if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're listening, or you can always write us in. Tell us, what resonates here with you. What do you think is going on inside of your body? I know that you've been dealing with these types of things for quite some time. So a few of the reasons are toxins, okay? So toxins could be biotoxins. So those are living things like parasites, mold, fungus, viruses, bacteria that are literally living inside of the body, and they are pulling on nutrients. They're disrupting the gut microbiome. They're doing all types of things inside of our body. And then there's external toxins as well. So think about chemicals that are put on your food, on the plants outside, pesticides, things like that. Cleaning products, makeups, all of those types of things. Those things can mimic estrogen. And when estrogen and progesterone, those two work together, when they're out of balance and your body's like, oh, I've got all this estrogen, it can throw things off with your hormones and your mood as well. So most women don't like to admit that they're, are moody. And some are like, yes, I'm moody. And yes, I snapped off and I went off on this person that I shouldn't have gone off. Or, I'm super irritable and short with my kids. And I get it. You don't really want to be that way. So there's things going on inside the body that are really important to look at. Nutrient deficiencies are super important. So my doctors in the past, when I was younger, would just say, okay, take some iron. Let's see if that would work. They were guessing, and also there's, when we go back to those toxins, there's some toxins like parasites, for instance, they love ferritin, which is the stored form of iron. Okay. So it feeds off from those types of things. So when you have living things inside of you, whether it's parasites, whether it's mold, whether it's a fungus, virus, bacteria, all of those things are pulling on our nutrients, and it's stressful for our body. So when our body's under more stress, it needs more nutrients. So there could be some type of nutrient deficiency going on in your body. That's going to create issues with your neurotransmitters in your brain, because all of those have different nutrients that they need. When we're talking about serotonin and dopamine and acetylcholine and all of these different things, noradrenaline, those all have different pathways that require nutrients. So those nutrient imbalances can for sure be an issue with your energy and just feeling good in general. When you think about dopamine, that's like when they talk about, like, people get on social media, you get a dopamine hit. When you have that cookie or that snack, you're getting that dopamine hit. You can get it in healthy ways, you can get it in unhealthy ways, but it's like even being able, your body just naturally produce that dopamine, there's pathways there that need nutrients. Sleep is a common factor for not having energy. I know it sounds like common sense, like, well, I got to sleep, but oftentimes, if there's an issue with your hormones, again, going back to that cortisol, if there's an issue with the way that the brain is communicating with the rest of the body, some women, that come to me, they drag all day, like tired, 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 tired. And then at nighttime, like, oh, it's go time. They're up, they're on their phone, they're scrolling, they're doing things and have this burst of energy. Well, while sometimes that can even be looked at like, oh, this is my go time, it's really not natural for the body to be like that. Cortisol should be nice and low, and you should be able to sleep really good during that time. And it doesn't benefit if the next day you're tired and you can't do the things that you need to do to get through that day, whether it's things for work or being with your children or your family or your nephews, your nieces, any of those people, your significant other. You don't have energy to have quality time with those people or to really focus when you're at work. Being up at night may feel good because you've got all this extra adrenaline and cortisol going at that time, but we really want to have that balance there. Not having enough oxygen. So all of our cells, our neurons, our hormones, they all need oxygen. So sometimes we've just got to breathe. Okay. And then another one is your hormones just being out of balance when it comes to your sex hormones. We talked a little bit about estrogen and progesterone's that feel good hormone. It's like a natural Valium. It's anti-anxiety. It's calming. But testosterone is another one. So with testosterone, that one is going to give you like motivation and drive. So when we're able to look and see what's going on there, we can see, okay, this is a big factor here of why there's not that motivation and drive there. Thyroid hormones, another one. That one is a big one for energy and metabolism and motivation as well too. That one's big for hair, skin, and nails too. So that's really important to look at. Okay, those could be factors as far as like what's going on with energy. And then the next one would be glucose dysregulation. Okay, so when you think about your glucose, so glucose, anytime you have carbohydrates, so that's going to be your pasta, it's going to be your cakes, all of those types of things. It's also in fruit, some vegetables and things like that. So carbohydrates are anything that turn into sugar into the blood, and that sugar, that glucose, cannot stay in the blood. So what happens is it will raise up in the blood, and then insulin, which is a hormone, comes out and it's got to lower it. It's got to bring it down. And the thing is that if we're starting our mornings and we're like spiking that glucose level throughout the day, we're going to be going through this whole pattern of like glucose up and then insulin brings it down. And then we're like, oh, got a little crash here, that afternoon crash. That could be due to cortisol. That could be due to just glucose dysregulation, especially if you're very tired after eating a meal. If you get really tired there, glucose is coming down. There's issues. There's dysregulation happening there. So we really want to have good, steady blood sugar throughout the day, because that can affect our mood. It can affect our energy as well. And then stress is another very common reason. So a lot of doctors really are like, yeah, okay, everybody knows like we need less stress. Okay. But what we do in my program is we really help you address the stress and then also put things in place to protect yourself from the damaging effects of stress. Okay. So stress can be coming from your relationships in your life, that job that you need to leave or that you hate. There could be things going on with your kids. There could be that stress of not feeling connected to God, all of those types of things. There could be stress from previous traumas. But it's really important that there's structures and things in place that really help you navigate that stress, because life is going to keep lifing. Okay. And people are going to keep peopling, and everything keeps going on. All right. So we've got to learn to regulate that stress and to manage it and to also protect ourselves from it. Because what happens, again, if you're in this stressed out state, what happens is your hypothalamus, so that's a gland in your brain, okay? So you got your hypothalamus, and it's kind of like your thermostat. That's, let's say it's set at 70 degrees, and it keeps everything in balance per se. And if the house gets cooler, and it moves down to, 65, it's going to say, we need some heat. Let's bring it up. Same thing, vice versa. If it's going up too high, it brings it back down. So your hypothalamus is always interpreting, okay, what's going on? Am I in danger? It's like there to monitor your internal and your external environment. And if it senses that you're not safe, or that there's something going on that's stressful, it's going to turn on that fight or flight system again. Okay. So you're in a place where you need to fight or run away. And your body does not know the difference if there's a bear running after you, or if you have a stressful job, or there's something going on with your kids or your spouse. All of that, the body's sensing it the same way. And what's going to happen is it's going to start pushing out all of this cortisol. And over time, the body becomes very dysregulated. Okay. So the brain and the body are not communicating as well. So that's where you end up, where you're dragging all day, you're not sleeping well at night, or you are, up, tired all day, and then wired but tired feeling in the evenings. All of that is evidence that there's something going on with those specific hormones. Fatigue, anxiety, depression, also having high cortisol levels over a long period of time, it weakens your immune system. Okay, so then your body's not able to go out and fight if, let's say, you're come in contact with a virus or a bacteria or something like that. Like some people are just like, oh, I always catch everything. I get everything. Well, the immune system is weakened there. So then again, like we said, that's something that's a biotoxin that begins living in your body, and it creates more stress. So this is kind of a thing that goes on and on and on here. Okay. Also, you can have low energy. This can create difficulty concentrating on things like that, because you really need to be in more of a relaxed state when it's time to like sit down and focus. But if you're stuck, your body, that brain-body communication is not working well, it can affect your concentration and your focus. It can affect your libido as well. So think about it, if in nature, if there was a bear running after you, your body, the last thing it would want to do is say, oh, now's a good time to make a baby. No, your body is in a place where it's like, I need to run away to safety, or I need to go ahead and kill off what's trying to get me. Okay. So again, your body doesn't know the difference though between that bear and that relationship, what's going on with your kids, or whatever's going on in your life that's stressing you out. Okay. So it's going to affect libido as well. It can cause you to gain weight. So here's the thing is that when your body's in this stressed out state, it's thinking, okay, I don't know how long this is going to be here, especially if it's been chronic stress over a long period of time. It's like, okay, well, I need to hold on to everything that I need because we don't know what the future holds. So it's going to start storing fat and doing all those types of things. And then add that to having toxins and things like that in your body's really smart. Okay. So it's holding on to fat because it's like, okay, we might need this in the future. We don't know what's going on. And then also, if you have toxins circulating in your body knows, okay, we don't, especially in the belly area, we don't want that to go into our internal organs. Our kidneys are there, our liver, our heart, all of this. So we're going to take those toxins and we're going to start wrapping fat around them, and we're going to store those toxins in the fat there. So there's a whole plethora of issues a lot of times when women come to me. A lot of people want it to just be one thing. Like, tell me the one supplement that I need to take. Tell me the one thing that I need to do. And it's oftentimes, multiple things going on. There could be toxins, deficiencies. There's stress that we need to have tools to be able to navigate and manage and protect ourselves from that damaging effect of stress. So in all of this sets us up for chronic illness down the road, okay? The women that come to me oftentimes are struggling with low energy, trouble losing weight. There's irregularities with their hormones, imbalances there, whether they're premenopausal, so there's dysregulation there where they're having irregular cycles, or they're in that perimenopause phase and it's not going very well as they're transitioning into menopause, or they're still, menopause has come and they're not feeling like themselves anymore. So these women come to me for these issues, but then when I start having a conversation with them about their goals and all of those types of things, oftentimes I'm like, what would it look like? Or what are your goals around this? And sometimes it's like, well, I want to live. I don't want to end up with diabetes or high blood pressure or cancer or Alzheimer's or all of these chronic diseases that are due to a big part of our lifestyle and the way that we're living and our stress. Like, we know that stress kills, but we don't actually know how, and oftentimes we don't know how to navigate these things and implement the different strategies and tools to be able to protect ourselves. When I say, like, literally, like, we've got to protect ourselves from the damaging effects of stress, because it creates a lot of inflammation in the body. So those are some of the reasons. So we know that energy really, really impacts us. It impacts our relationships, it impacts our work, and sometimes it even impacts us spiritually. A lot of those reasons, like I said, it can be toxins, deficiencies, lack of sleep, which then could be hormonal. It could be other imbalances going on with our hormones, issues with neurotransmitters, glucose dysregulation, and then stress is a really big one. So what we are going to move into next is some of the strategies. And I have a nice surprise for you guys. In the show notes, you can go ahead and click on this free guide, okay? So I have a free guide here for you guys today. And this free guide talks about the top 7 strategies to boost energy and reduce stress. So I'm going to review a few of them on today's show, and then you go ahead and click there and you can have that. It's completely free. And I also have a lot of how-tos, okay? So it talks about the top hormone that's affected by stress, the risk of this hormone being out of balance, the 7 strategies to build stress and resilience and boost energy as well. And then often it will give you answers of just like why you don't feel like yourself anymore. And then there's the easy practical tips on how to implement all 7 strategies. So the how, okay? Sometimes we're told like what to do, but it's really like how and the tips to go along with implementing these ideas as well. So I came up with this idea because I realized a lot of my listeners, you're listening to this as you're working out, you're listening to this as you're driving in the car, you're doing other things a lot of times. So I was like, let me go ahead and put together a guide. So I have a lot of these strategies here so that you'll be able to, in your free time, be able to sit down, look at them, and then begin implementing them as well. One of my favorite strategies is setting intentions and doing this first thing in the morning, okay? So much like your sleep-wake cycles, your cortisol levels, they follow this natural rhythm as well, okay? So they should peak in the morning and then they should go down throughout the day. This is actually called your cortisol awakening response. So within an hour of waking up, your cortisol level should be at their very highest and then go down. And this is if everything's normal, but this is also why it's so important to have your hormones tested properly and throughout the day and in the saliva and urine, because we're able to see what's going on with those things and we're not having to guess, okay? So here's the thing is that because your cortisol levels, they peak in the morning, that's when you're going to have the most. And that can actually cause some people to wake up with kind of some anxiety, wanting to like, okay, I've got things to do, gotta go. But in general, setting positive intentions in the morning can really help direct your energy towards the most important task for the day. And this can help ease any morning anxiety and things like that. So one of the things that I have for my clients in the Hormone Compass program, I'm going to show you for those of you that are watching on YouTube, and those that are listening, I'll describe it. But this right here is a journal planner that my clients receive. It's like this beautiful purple and gold planner. It's called the Align Journal Planner. And align means acknowledge, listen, inquire, grow, and nurture. And it's things that I teach my clients about being aligned. But this is a journal planner. So it has a lot of the things that I teach within the Hormone Compass program. So if that has not launched yet, depending on when you're listening to this, it will be launching later this year. So keep an eye out for that. And then if it's already launched and you're listening to this, then yeah, come join us. It's all about community, and it's about you really having the resources that you need to become healthy and powerful, and just being able to have a very fulfilling life, and without our energy, as we talked about so much, it impacts everything. It impacts our mood, our relationships, our work, all of those types of things. So I love this journal planner that I've created. And this entire program, I have poured all of my protocols, all of my training into this program here. I have spent hundreds of hours really creating the things and the resources for my clients to be able to use. And this is one of them. So I literally designed this and then created all the things that are good to do in the morning and in the evening, and planning your weeks and just reflecting, but not too much. Okay. Because we don't want to create another to-do list, right? We don't need more, but we want to do the most important things. So it's really important in the morning to set an intention about how you want to feel that day. Sometimes it's not even like the goal. Like, it's good to have like a couple things like, okay, these are the things I want to get done today, and then give the rest to God. But really setting an intention either for the day or the week where it's like, okay, I want to feel clarity. I want to feel peace. I want to feel joy. I want to feel connection, those types of things. So that can be really a good way to start your morning out and help reduce any kind of morning anxiety that you have. One thing, as far as another strategy, would be sleep. That's important, of course. And we know that we got to sleep, right? I have a 1-year-old, and he, and even my older children, they're 11 and 12, they've got a bedtime. Okay. So we tell our kids, okay, you got to go to bed. We make sure they're getting in bed on time. But then as adults, we don't have mom or dad telling us we got to go to bed. And sometimes we just don't, right? So it's really important that we have some routines around our sleep time and really prioritize it, because it's really a way to give back to yourself and allow yourself to rest. Okay. Lack of sleep and even poor sleep can elevate your cortisol levels. And then if you're just really in trouble, you have like all of this stress, and then you have trouble sleeping. You may have nutritional deficiencies, toxins, parasites. They have a witching hour, like all types of things I get can completely disrupt your sleep. And those things need to be addressed. But some of the basic things that you can do is stick to a consistent sleep schedule, so your body syncs up to your circadian rhythm. So that way, when your head hits the pillow, you're like, okay, it's ready. I know that it's time to go to bed here. Okay. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. And the thing is that once you train your body, you'll know. So for instance, your bed really shouldn't be the place that you work to, okay? Because then your body's like, wait, do we work here or do we sleep here? What exactly do we do here? It's really good to have a nice wind down routine, some relaxing things that you can do to help your body and your mind really unwind. That could be reading, journaling, taking a bath, stretching, cuddling with a pet, or cuddling with a loved one, deep breathing, all of those types of things. So my 1-year-old, he knows, and God help us, he did help us. That little boy was not a good sleeper in the beginning, okay? But now at nighttime, when it's time to go to bed, I say, ready for night-night? And then he says, night-night. So he knows. And sometimes he'll just, as soon as I say that, he starts walking toward the stairs to go upstairs, and he'll look back like, we coming? Because that was a good idea. It's time to sleep. So we have our routine. We take him upstairs, give him a bath, and then I go take him, put him on the bed, and I start putting his lotion on and putting his PJs on, and he'll say, bae. And that's because he knows I'm about to holler down to my husband and be like, bae, calling him to come upstairs, and vice versa. So even if it's my husband, giving him his bath and everything like that, my baby will be like, Bae, because he knows, okay, that's the next thing. Okay, we're calling for Bae to come help. And then the other one goes and lays him down. And he knows, he'll like literally, we give him a bottle and then he's ready to like jump out of our arms. He's like, it's time for bed, but it's because we have created that routine for him. So just like babies, us as adults, we really need to nurture that time, like create it as a sacred space. Those are some things that you can do in the meantime, as you're getting your hormones in balance, as you're addressing those cortisol levels. These are some things that you can do to allow yourself to have a more restful sleep, to be able to go to sleep. And I know that it's hard, especially if cortisol is pumping out at night when it shouldn't. It's almost sometimes like a kid, like you don't want to go to sleep, like you feel like you're going to miss something, but I promise you, it will all be there tomorrow, including your to-do list. Okay. What I have learned about the to-do list is that it will always be there. Even if I get to the bottom of it, which rarely happens, it's going to have more added to it. The next day or the next week, more is coming. And I look at it like laundry. I used to, in my former marriage, he had 2 other children who were mine as well. And so we had 4 kids, right? And it was him, and then it was me as well. And we had 6 laundry baskets, and they had the different colors and the towels and all of these things. And it was just like, I just felt like I'm never going to get through this laundry. Like I'm always doing laundry. And then I was like, well, maybe if I do 1 load a day, then, it's just like just a load, versus like waiting. And then I've got like 6 loads of laundry to do. But one day I just came to the conclusion, and I accept it, there's always going to be laundry because we are going to continue to wear clothes, and those clothes are going to need to be washed, right? So it was like once I accepted that, it made it like less of this like dreaded task to do. Now I will tell you, I still don't love doing laundry. I will wash it and then I kind of put it on the chair in our bedroom, and I get to it when I get to it. If you're able to outsource it. I have friends that outsource their laundry and they have someone pick it up and wash it and bring it back. So whatever you can delegate and ask for support in, go ahead and do that. I have not given away my laundry, but I have accepted that it will always be there. So same thing with your to-do list. Okay. Just like know, like that to-do list is going to be there tomorrow. Okay. So the same thing with like setting your intentions in the morning, set those intentions. Find 1 or 2 things, like these are the things that I'm going to get done today, give the rest to God, and know that everything always gets taken care of, right? When you look at your life, things have happened, but it always gets taken care of. So back to sleep, create that space, make it a sacred space, really, to be able to create for yourself a consistent sleep schedule and then have a wind down routine for yourself. So another strategy that I love is limiting blue light. Okay. So blue lights are the thing that come from our electronics. Okay. So from our phones, from our laptops, TVs, they all emit blue light. Okay. And what that blue light does is that it confuses your circadian rhythm. Okay. So especially if you're using those devices in the evening once the sun's gone down. Okay. So what blue light does is it suppresses the sleep hormone melatonin. And then it also increases cortisol levels. So you can see like this is not a good mix happening here. So that's not ideal for getting really good rest here. Okay. So it's ideal to avoid electronics 2 to 3 hours before bed. If you're not able to do that, try at least 30 minutes. Start with 15 minutes before bed and then start pushing it out to 30 minutes and then an hour. You can also add blue light screen filters. In the free guide that I've created for you, there's a link. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that, but it's a link to a good filter that you can put on your phone or your laptop that helps block that blue light. Blue light glasses as well. Gunner is a good brand. They're not very cute. My husband wears them all the time. I mean, he's cute, but they help block out the blue light, and it's the amber in them. Okay. So what you want to do in the evening, if you're able to, is choose red and amber night lights. Okay. So what this does is when you think about in the evening, if we didn't have all these electronics and TVs and artificial lights, it would just be dark at night. Okay. It'd be pitch black. except for the stars. We'd be able to sit and look at the stars. But what happens is as the sun's going down, when you think about a sunset, oftentimes it's that red, it's that orange, it's the amber light, okay? And what that does is it signals to your brain it's about to be nighttime, okay? We're winding down, all of those types of things. So when you use amber lights in the evenings, it does the same thing for the brain. One thing that I will do oftentimes is I enjoy reading. So I'll take a book and I have an amber light that just connects to it, put that on. So it's the only light that my eyes is receiving at that time. And it really does, the reading is relaxing as well as having that light there as well. So that can be super helpful. So on the other side of that, so that's in the evenings, let's talk about in the morning. So in the morning, sun exposure is one of the easiest ways to really help your cortisol and your circadian rhythm get in sync, okay? So the morning sunlight suppresses the sleep hormone melatonin, okay? And it increases cortisol. So it's doing the opposite of what that blue light's doing, okay? So, or it's doing basically the same thing. It's doing the opposite of what the amber's doing. But we want this in the morning, okay? And what the sun exposure actually does when you're exposed to it in the morning, it's been shown to lower cortisol levels later in the day. So this can actually help you sleep better at night and improve your quality of sleep as well. The other thing is that morning sunlight triggers a cascade of just like positive feelings and good chemicals and things like that, including serotonin. So when you think about antidepressants, a lot of them are serotonin reuptake inhibitors, okay? Because we want to have serotonin there. And what this does is it gives that kind of antidepressant effect there. So it can be really good for like mood and energy. So if you're able to, get 30 to 60 minutes upon waking. And I know that's a lot for most people. So just try 5 to 10 minutes or even just 1 to 2 minutes if you can't do anything, okay? Some things that you can do is open your blinds first thing in the morning. That can help you wake up and get, the cortisol levels, like all of those things. Because a lot of times women, when they come to me, and again, this is why lab work is so important, is we can see what's going on. Some women are producing a whole lot. And then some women are no longer, like their body's like, no, we're going to hold on to this cortisol. We're not going to give it to her because when real danger comes, we have to be able to give her that. And they may be at a point that they can't even do that. So in the labs, we're able to see like how much your body freely has to use, how much is it storing it, how much is it able to metabolize even what it has. So really important information there. But the morning sunlight is going to help reset that circadian rhythm. So some of the things that you can do is you can go outside and sip your morning water or your tea outside on the front porch or the backyard. Some of the other things is like the things that you're already doing. So if you are a journaler, if you read, eat breakfast, make phone calls, those things in the morning, do it outside, go outside. And I know a lot of the people that listen to me and my clients, you guys are in New York, New Jersey, Virginia, you're up there in the Northeast, and East Coast, or just different places around the country where it's kind of cold a lot of the year. So if it's cold and you're like, okay, I can't go outside, Dr. Alicia, you can go ahead and just sit next to a sunny window in the morning and get some sunshine. And again, just start with a little bit, just like at night, like say, okay, I'm going to turn off electronics 10 minutes before bed. I'm going to get some morning sunshine 1 to 2 minutes in the morning, until you're like, okay, I really do like this. So these are some of the things that are really good and helpful. One last thing that I love is evening journaling. Okay. So journaling is one of the best things that you can do to just kind of like brain dump. Just leave it all just right there, and you don't have to take it into your sleep. You don't have to feel stressed going to bed, worrying about what's going on in the next day. It can really help your mind to relax. Some of the things that you can do are the free writing, so just literally it's called like stream of consciousness, where you're just write. And that can be really, really helpful. The other thing would be gratitude journaling. So write down the things that you're grateful for to end your day. You can go ahead and just like brain dump, where you do write out like everything you've got to do tomorrow, so then you're not thinking about it. You can bullet journal. So this is a way where you can just record your achievements, your goals, your thoughts, reflections, and do it in like a very organized way. So it's really important to be able to get those things off your mind so that you can rest and that you can have the energy that you want and you desire for the next day. It's also helping with the cortisol levels as well because it's decreasing stress. So inside the guide that I have for you, the free guide, there's also some supplements. I have listed the best ones that really go a long way in helping to regulate your cortisol levels, and can help just give you some support in that area and help you build resiliency. So here's my thing. My disclaimer is that, well, I have two disclaimers. The first one is I'm a doctor, but I'm not your doctor. Okay. So make sure anything that you're taking that you feel comfortable with it or that you've reviewed it with a healthcare professional, you've done all the things. Okay. So I'm not recommending these as your doctor. I don't know anything about your medical history, and this is a podcast, right? So I am giving these general recommendations. These are great supplements for most people. The other disclaimer is that I am a supplement snob. Okay. So here's the thing is that the women that work with me, they don't have time to waste. They don't have energy to waste, and they don't have money to waste, right? Like no one wants to spend time doing that. So when it comes to supplements, I'm a complete snob because there's a lot of garbage out there, right? But there's also like a lot of really good things out there as well. So first I'm going to talk a little bit about the garbage. So let's say that you go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, I want to pick up some calcium, and you go get some calcium. This could be at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or just your local grocery store. That calcium could possibly come from rocks. Okay. And that's because there's calcium in rocks, but we don't eat rocks. Okay. We eat food. So it's really important to me that the supplements that you take, your body's really able to absorb. There's B vitamins that sometimes come from tar. And the reason is because a lot of times vitamins, what they're doing is they're going into a lab and they're taking something from nature, but they're manipulating it in a way to have it mimic the molecular structure of the real vitamin and then hoping that your body will absorb it. Same thing with like vitamin C. A lot of times you'll see on the package, it says ascorbic acid. Well, when vitamin C is more like, think of an egg. So you've got the egg shell, you've got the egg white, you've got the egg yolk. It has all these different layers to it. Ascorbic acid is like it is the eggshell of vitamin C. So it's only a part, so then it's like we're giving our body bits and pieces, and then it has to like pull it together and try to do something with it, or you just pee it out, right? It's not even useful. So for me, it's really important that, I myself, my family, my friends, my clients are taking things that are really high quality, and our body's actually able to use that. So I have a link inside of that document. It takes you to my Full Script store. Now, there are discounts in there that are automatic when you sign up in there. And the other thing is that some things you can find like online or Amazon, but you have to be careful there as well because people can just resell things. You don't know if it's been tampered with. You don't know if it's the original or anything like that. So you really want to get things that you're making sure that it's coming from directly from the manufacturer or through legitimate portals so that you're getting quality supplements again. So just be careful with that, just that little tidbit there, okay? So I hope that all of this was super helpful for you. The guide has more information in it. It has more strategies for you as well. It's called the Top 7 Strategies to Boost Energy and Reduce Stress. So if you're ready to really feel like yourself again, get your energy back, then this guide is something that you've been waiting for. And you're able to tap into nearly 2 decades of clinical experience. So go ahead and download that. It's completely free. It's just for you. And I created it for you. So if you enjoyed this episode, what we talked about today was the impact that having low energy has on you, your relationships, your work, even sometimes your spiritual connection. And it really can stop you and hold you back in a lot of areas of your life. We also talked about the reasons, the common causes of why you have low energy, or your friends or family. If you know someone that is experiencing them, share this podcast with them. Okay. This is really important information for them. And I say that because I wish someone would have come to me when I was younger. I remember being 20 years old and going to the doctor, and she was running all the tests, and they're like, we can't find what's going on. And I literally could not stay awake. Like, I'd go to the doctor's office and I was asleep in my chair at the office. I was so tired. So I dealt with this exhaustion and this fatigue for over a decade. And back then, what they did was they were like, well, try some iron. And then eventually she diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. She put me on a antidepressant, and then later like PCOS and all the things that had to do with like menstrual cycles. So, I'm just not a fan of it, of people just, getting the runaround, So I'm here to really empower you, give you information, solutions, knowledge. A lot of the women that I work with are very high achieving women, career women, women in leadership, entrepreneurs, business women, or just even, I always say this, I don't want to say just moms, but moms are really important, just dads are important too, but women, we are the ones that build healthy families and communities, so the people that in our lives, they really do depend on us to have our health in order. So I hope that this was valuable. If you enjoyed this or you want to hear from other guests, I bring on people that talk about love, wealth, career. We've got you covered in that area. Okay. So if you're watching us on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or another streaming service, go ahead and follow us. I promise you, you will not regret it. So it also helps us out when you share the podcast, when you like, when you subscribe, when you do all of those things, and it helps another woman. Okay. So one of my goals in starting this podcast was really to create community and connection. So if you're on YouTube, leave a comment. Let me know, like, what was your biggest takeaway from this episode? And I will come and I will personally respond to you. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.